Dr. Chopra. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well. I'm evolving. Thank you for asking. Thank you for asking.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
We all are. Even Mr. Trump is.
That's right. That's right. That's right. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations on your new book.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. I was at a talk in Southern California last year for your other book, and it was inspiring, and it was good to get it signed by you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal book. I love how prolific you are. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I will ask you the first question. Is actually your question that you ask people. How's life?
My life these days is pretty effortless, spontaneous, and peaceful and joyful. But I'm also 71 years old, and if it wasn't that by now, then it would be a failure.
I understand. I understand what you're saying. Yes. I bet you get. I want to talk to you about the book in a second, but I bet you get asked this. I bet you get asked this a lot, or you may. Many people might want to know what's going on out there in the world, and I'm curious what your thoughts are with all that.
I would say that the world has now embarked on collective insanity with war, terrorism, mechanized death, extinction of species, cyber hacking, eco-destruction, climate change, religious fanaticism, and basically total unawareness that what we call normal is actually totally insane.
So you must get asked this a lot as well, and you probably refer people to your books, I would imagine, but what are some ways we can maneuver through all this in a healthy way?
Well, the first thing is to know that what is normal is the psychopathology of insanity. Second is to stop participating in it. And there's, everybody's full of melodrama right now, and the melodrama is about human constructs that have no basis in reality. And so the first thing is to, since you can't escape the insane asylum, you're in it, you might as well pick up your visitor's badge and watch the show without getting involved in it. Because if you get involved, it doesn't matter which side you take, you'll be participating in the insanity. So, first is to recognize that. And the second thing is take the responsibility for your own conscious evolution in the choices you want to make.
That is a big responsibility for many people, I would imagine.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
But most people are asleep, so they don't know that they're participating in the insanity.
Yes. It requires work to be conscious, or does it?
Not once you become an observer of your own self without getting involved in the drama.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. It's wonderful to hear it. About your book, I love the topics that are being addressed there with your co-author, and how the body has an extraordinary healing system, and how yet many of us may not know how to activate that system and create vibrant health and prevent disease. Obviously we're point people to the book, but can you share one or two ways where you would guide people toward
certain very well-known practical principles that have to do with nutrition and how you can modify your diet to decrease inflammation in the body. Then principles on how to manage stress in your life, and then some principles that have to do with how to age gracefully and not allow aging to be a barrier to your well-being. There are other principles that we talk about in the book that have to do with movement, mind-body coordination, breathing, sleep, and then the biology of emotions. And so the first part of the book is very practical on these issues, but the last two parts are very important as well because they're about conscious evolution and what in many cultures have been called peak experiences of the state of flow, or what we call effortless spontaneity, or the transcendence that religions talk about. So I think all these principles are equally important, some very practical on a daily basis, but then the bigger questions beyond body, mind, and the experience of the world, is there another reality? What is it? What do spiritual traditions mean by the words soul or spirit? What does it mean to be grounded in awareness and to become identified or seek your identity beyond social constructs and beyond perceptual and mental experience? So for me, that last part of the book was the most important.
Wow. I love how my mind, or is it my emotions, got my ears pricked up when you said the biology of emotion. I find that interesting. There are a lot of people who, especially artists, let's say, who may be ruled by their emotions. So how do we ground that, let's say, and not run away with our emotions?
Well, when you feel connected to the world, you spontaneously, or connected to life, you spontaneously experience love and compassion and joy and empathy and peace. When you feel disconnected, you experience frustration, you experience anxiety, maybe anger, sometimes hostility, guilt, shame, and depression. So, on one extreme is what is called ultimate joy and ecstasy, and the other extreme is extreme depression. In between is a whole range of emotions that are basically driven by a pursuit of pleasure and our avoidance of pain. Each emotion has its own biology. So, if you think of something stressful, your biology will change right now. If you think of somebody you love, your biology will change right now, instantly. So wherever an emotion goes, the molecule follows and your biology follows. What I'm talking about in this book with Rudy is actually going beyond all these polar opposites and going beyond the highs and the lows that drive us, by going to that place in your consciousness or awareness that is independent of opposites, and that is our fundamental state as pure consciousness. So that is the highest intelligence, to be grounded in the awareness of our own existence, or what I call the awareness of awareness.
Do you get this a lot? You have a calming effect on people.
Well, some people say so, so it must be true, maybe.
I think so. Since the publication I'm writing for has a large LGBTQ population in Palm Springs,
yes,
I was intrigued by your 2014 Huffington Post article, where the headline was "Next for the Gay Rights Movement, Filling the Spiritual Dimension," which was very captivating. And you mentioned the 7 needs that must be filled for gay people to realize their place in a living kind of spirituality. And you listed them, and then you also went on to say that, I think this was in your article, spiritually seeking is a huge topic, naturally, and quote, on one front, most gay people have come to terms with the religion they were brought up in, and you said, in your experience, gay people have done more to fulfill those 7 needs than society as a whole, which I thought was very interesting. Can you talk a little bit about that briefly?
Well, anytime you're marginalized, then you have to fall back on resources that are creative and that involve your a lot of courage and a lot of self-esteem. So, for thousands of years, sexual variation or identity variation has always existed, but always also has been prejudice because, by and large, people who are in the majority think they're normal and everybody else is abnormal. So I think slowly but surely we are understanding that human beings have the capacity for maximum diversity, and no matter what identity you seek is a limited identity. When we go and transcend these limited identities, I'm straight, I'm gay, I'm bisexual, I'm transgender, I'm neuter, these are all very limited identities. True spirituality means going beyond these artificial human constructs and understanding that the essence of our existence, which is awareness of being or consciousness, is all possibilities. And that once we accept that, then we can create a better world for ourselves and for others. So I think we are seeing that transformation right now in society with a lot of resistance. You still have people like some of the conservatives and Vice President Pence and others who are still stuck in a very obsolete worldview that is frozen in medieval mythology, and it's time to grow up.
It's time to go up, spiral up. Yes, I understand.
Yes.
A few more questions for you, because I'm sure you've got many other things going on today.
Sure.
So, what makes you laugh most?
The insanity of the world.
Observing it, right?
And people not, it's like everyone's asleep. It's so crazy. It makes me laugh, but it's also very frustrating.
Who would you say was one of your earliest positive influences, and why?
My parents. My parents were great humanitarians and storytellers, and really the most inspiring people I've ever met.
I love that. What do you think we could all be focusing on more right now as human beings?
At the cost of sounding almost like a cliche, I would say love and compassion.
I like that. Just a little bit of word association. What comes to mind when I say Oprah?
If she married Deepak, she would be Oprah Chopra.
That's true. By the way, I really appreciate your meditation series. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes.
When I say Trump, what comes to mind?
I have to be honest, and what comes to mind is belligerent buffoons.
Two interesting, good choice words, I think. children, your children?
Joy.
Do you have an addiction?
Not anymore. I'm an addictive personality, so I would say right now my addiction is spiritual understanding.
I appreciated your son's documentary. I thought it was well done. In it, you said one of your most interesting flaws was that it was your ambition. Do you still find that to be true?
No, it's not true anymore. That was a good film, by the way, so it brought me some self-awareness too.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what effect did your son's documentary have on you?
I think, when you look at the documentary very honestly, then you say that the best people in the world to trust are those closest to you who are also critical of you.
Yes. You also said in the documentary you haven't felt nervous since you were 14 years of age.
That's true, Phil.
I want to know what was going on at 14 years of age.
Girls.
Say that again, girls?
Yes.
I love
Distraction.
it. I love it. Two more questions for you. What do you find that you've done so much, over 80 books, and you're this enterprise. Do you find that there's an interesting contemporary out there that you're intrigued by that's doing similar work?
I meet a lot of young people, millennials who are not yet famous. I want to groom them in many ways and be inspired by them. So I would say there are a lot of people right now, but they're not my generation. They're a newer generation, and they exist in many fields, in the arts, in the sciences, in medicine, in biology, in philosophy. And I enjoy interacting with them a lot.
If someone were to mention to you, let's say someone who was a descendant of someone like their parents or grandparents who survived the Holocaust, and they are going through something, let's say, that's termed intergenerational family trauma, what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, it's a very real thing. We also know that there is something called epigenetic transfer of trauma.
Right.
And therefore, first thing is to recognize this as a fact, as a scientific fact, and then look at all the ways to deal with it, because before we recognize that it exists, we are in denial of it.
Right. That's sort of been my journey the last few years. I wrote a book about my Polish family surviving Stalin, and I was fine all the way through writing it. It was only after I was done writing it and it was published that I started having really curious, like polar opposite feelings, just very interesting feelings. So I find the whole topic of epigenetics in inherited family trauma, and some of the work by maybe like author and speaker Mark Bolin, very fascinating. So it's interesting to hear you talk about that.
Yeah, your body carries the trauma through generations. So after all, your body is a product of those bodies that suffered that trauma. So now that the science is here for us to look at, it means taking on the responsibility to look at it, find creative solutions for it, and choose our experiences in a way that we don't pass it on to future generations.
Right. That's it. It's refreshing to hear you say that. One last question for you. What is the most interesting thing you've been learning about yourself lately?
That I'm fascinated by the prospect of death.
Really?
Yes. After all, it's the final chapter in everyone's life. So, when the last curtain falls, we should be fully prepared for it.
Do you feel you're prepared for it?
Yes, I am.
If you were to look over your life and had a few words to say over it, about this journey, what comes to mind for you?
No regrets.
Two great words, and that's a wonderful place to be in the body.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to thank you so much for your time and for all that you give out into the world. Thank you, really, truly.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much for doing it.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Be well.